Next, we welcome on an incredible guy. He's a former police officer, and now he's literally America's biggest, I guess you'd say, black, white supremacist. He has, over millions and millions and millions of followers on, multiple social media platforms. The one, the only, Brandon Tatum. Welcome to Primetime with Alex Stein, my friend.
Hey, welcome. Well, thank you so much for having me, man. And it's always a pleasure to support you, man. And I love everything you do, bro.
Okay, well, you're being too nice. I just want to say, dude, you really helped put me on the map when you reacted to my content. That was really, I'm just telling you, it helped blow my channel up. But I don't want to kiss your butt the whole time. You're super busy. You're a content machine. You're always, in the studio. You're constantly creating content. But right now, one of my biggest videos, a video you reacted to, was my AOC Big Booty Latina video. And I don't know if you saw this recent lawsuit, but I just filed it, and CNBC reached out 3 hours after my attorney filed it. They must have some sort of person watching for any lawsuit. But comedian sues Ocasio-Cortez for blocking him on Twitter after he catcalled her outside of the United States Capitol. And the reason why this lawsuit is interesting because AOC's actually been sued for this before and ended up unblocking the person. So what do you think about the lawsuit, Brandon?
Well, I think it's appropriate. I'm a firm component or proponent of using the legal system where the legal system is applicable. She cannot block people. You got to think on her account, she's a public official. She's working on behalf of the government. So if you're a government page, you have to have a legitimate excuse why you're blocking access from the public, the taxpayer, from being a part of the government channel. So I think it's fine. I mean, screw her. I don't like these people, these communists. I want them to all, be in legal trouble and for them to all suffer the consequences of the things that they do, man. I cannot stand them. They hate America. They hate God. And I'm all for it. Sue her butt.
No, and I love it. Okay, and then Brandon, I'm learning stuff about you. I know your beautiful wife, Corinne. You're an incredible guy. You're in Arizona, but I didn't realize you were teammates with Rob Gronkowski. What the heck? Tell me about this. I got to know, what was he like? Because I know he partied and freaking. I know he had to party. So what was that like?
Well, first, he was teammates with me.
Okay,
so
yeah, he was teammates with you. Excuse me. Excusez-moi. No. Yeah, so tell us, what was that like? I mean, multiple Super Bowl champion. Sorry.
Yeah, he was a great kid, man. I mean, it's funny because when he first came in as a true freshman, everybody knew he was going to play in the NFL. I was a safety, and I was the one guarding him in practice, and it was impossible. Nobody could guard Gronkowski. I'm just keeping it real. Even though I was an elite athlete, it was still no guarding Gronkowski because, the funny thing about him is he's wild, man. It's not like he run regular routes. He's smooth, man. He's wild. His arms are going everywhere. He got hands, like Randy Moss, and so the guy was incredible. He was a big old kid, man. You would never expect him to be as proficient as he is on the football field, to be so, I guess, childish and joked a lot and partied and had a good time. He was just a big old kid, man, but he was a boss on the football field.
Well, did you play with any other Gronkowskis? Because, I know they all played there.
Yeah, his brother. One of his brothers, I think his brother was older. I think it was Chris Gronkowski. He played fullback for us, and he was a pretty good athlete as well. But, man, nobody was nowhere near Rob Gronkowski. I think if he hadn't had a back injury and some of the things that happened in his career, man, he would go down in history as one of the best tight ends ever. I mean, He's impossible to cover. He creates mixed matches, and he's tough as nails, man.
And it's funny because, like you said, he's not like Jerry Rice, real fluid. He's all rough, but I guess that's why he's hard to cover because you can't get into his body. That's incredible. I didn't realize. I learned something new about you every day. Okay, so now I want to steer you to this. As a former law enforcement police officer, what do you think about this Murdaugh case where he was just recently convicted for murdering his wife and son? For me, I think it's a big deal because he was high on opiates. So you can be a rich scion, legal, whatever, generational wealth, and you can still become a victim of the opioid, the fentanyl opioid crisis. So what do you think about that case?
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's invaluable to evaluate whether or not he was on an opioid or how did that have an effect. Because it seems like a lot of people that lose their mind and do crazy stuff, even the young lady that killed her kids and ended up trying to jump off the second story of her house to kill herself. I mean, these people are being heavily medicated. And I wonder, does it have a significant effect on the way they behave and how they treat other people? Was he in the right state of mind when he allegedly killed his wife and I think his kid or something of that nature?
No, that's what he shot. He shot his wife and kid for money. I'm just saying, as a police officer, did you see a lot of that where people shoot their own family? I mean, I know people tell on themselves, tell on their family member to get out of jail, but I mean, that has to be very rare. I would think that a parent shoots their kid. You hear about it on the news, like you just said. That's what made me think about the wife trying to kill her kids. Saying, as a police officer, did you encounter that often, where a parent trying to hurt their own child on purpose?
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, a lot of the violence and murder was between people that actually knew each other, and a lot of the conflict and violence were domestic violence situations where you have a husband and wife or boyfriend girlfriend would commit crazy amounts of violence towards one another. A lot of times, random acts of violence were very rare. It was mostly people that knew each other, and it was rare for a person to hurt their child, right? So the boyfriend girlfriend scenario happened every day I was on duty. People killing each other happened a lot related to domestic violence. But when it comes to somebody murdering their own child, that's a very, very rare occurrence. So I had to say it probably was a very shocking situation for police officers that responded. But the domestic violence thing is probably the most prevalent amount of violence that we see in law enforcement.
Okay, and then I got to ask you this, though. Now Roe versus Wade getting overturned. I know you're such a Christian, ethical human being. So do you think that we're winning in this culture war? Because I know you've been in it a lot longer than me, and I would say that you're literally on the front lines with the Blexit, with all your organizations. But I think that's the biggest cultural win, I guess, the right wing has had in the last few years. Do you think we're heading in the right direction? Because I hate to be black-pilled and be so negative because Joe Biden's an idiot, and I think they're about to, just conspiracy theory, I think they're going to give him the old humiliation ritual. They just found a bunch more documents, and they're going to put in Kamala. I do think Kamala Harris will be our president. So it's hard to have a little joy or happiness when I realize that our borders being flooded with immigrants and sex trafficking and drug trafficking, and all our government wants to do is give money to the Ukraine. So in this culture war, Brandon, give us some positive outlook or hope, because as a man that's been on the front lines for this long, you've seen so many changes, ups and downs. Are we in an up or down period?
Well, it's hard to determine right now. I'd say we live in two different spectrums of life. One spectrum is the secular world, and I think in the secular world, it doesn't seem like we're winning. They're pushing transgenderism and homosexuality on everybody, and you've done a really good job going to these city council meetings and exposing a lot of these things. But then there's a spirit realm. And I think in the spirit realm, in a morality sense, we're taking huge wins, because a lot of people are waking up. A lot of people are getting saved. A lot of people are finding Christ. Revivals are happening everywhere. So I say in the spiritual realm, there's a lot of things that are going on, a lot of positive things that could be had. And then in the secular realm, it's going the way it's going to go. It's going the way the Bible has said it's going to go. We're going downhill fast. However, I do think we still have time to save our country if we all continue to band together and hold true to the things that we know are factual, that are honest, that are reasonable, use common sense. All of those things, I think we can help our country continue to grow. But I think there's two worlds moving at the same time, and this world is continuing to get worse. And then the world in the spiritual sense, I think, is continuing to grow.
Well, tell me this, Brandon. So you have millions of followers, and I want to get in your level. I mean, I don't know if that's even possible. But I'll tell you, what's the biggest advice you'd give to somebody like myself or other content creators? Because you've been considered a black white supremacist. You've alienated all the people that you're supposed to be, because you're a black man. You're not supposed to be conservative. So you definitely buck the system. And then on top of that, you have a huge audience where they said, oh, people are racist. People aren't going to listen to you. So what's the biggest piece of advice if I want to follow in your footsteps on becoming an awesome content creator?
Well, first of all, I think you've done an incredible job. I mean, look where you started at the meetings, and now you have your own show. And so I think you're doing an incredible job, man. And we love you. We love your comedy shows and everything. My family supports you. So we love you. In my personal opinion, you're a rock star already.
You're so
but
nice.
I think it's just consistency. It's just consistency. You just keep putting out content, keep putting out material, keep being authentic, man. Don't ever change who you are and what you represent. And the people that think just like you, and there's millions of them, just like I found out, they will go and they'll follow and support you. So I'd say this to anybody that's trying to be a content creator: consistency, and authenticity are the things that's going to make the world of a difference.
And you do it. I mean, every day you're putting out content. You put in the work. So you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. So thank you, and I'm honored to be able to call you a friend. So thank you for being on the show, and tell the people, I know you got way more followers than me, but tell the people where they can find you if they've never heard of you before, but I doubt that.
No, I call them people who are supportive of their family to me.
Okay.
So everybody that support me, their family to me. But you can go to The Officer Tatum, and all you got to do is put The Officer Tatum, THE, Officer Tatum, in any search engine. and you'll find all of my social media. My biggest thing is YouTube.
Yeah.
My biggest following is on YouTube. And so you go on YouTube, put in the Officer Tatum. I put out at least three videos a day.
He's the best reaction content guy in the conservative movement. I'm just telling you, you got to get his reaction because, listen, you also don't give the status quo answer, too. You know, that's what I really respect about you is you keep it 100, as the kids say. So, Brandon, thank you for joining us. I know you got to go. I know you're a busy man. I'll see you soon. Tell Corinne, tell the family hi. You're the man. Stay positive and keep kicking butt. See you, Brandon.
All right. See you later, my brother.
All right, guys, that was Brandon Tatum. He's awesome.
Right,
he's not just a former police officer. He's a real pimp on a blimp. That's who he is. We love you, Brandon. Thank you for joining the show.
I'm so fly, I'm aligned with the planes. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself.